What's going on, guys? It's your boy Nate Banks here to show you how to optimize what I think is the most important thing to do in the Street Fighter series. Your time in training mode, your time in the lab. I cannot overstate how important this time is. This is where you learn not only your character, but your matchups as well, your combos, mix-ups, your plus frames, your meaties. All of this is learned through spending time in the lab. And Street Fighter 6 has a very complicated lab system with multiple menus. I was really confused going through this thing, trying to figure out the ins and outs and how each little function works. Luckily, I think I've broken it down in a pretty simple way. I'm going to restore the defaults here, and we are going to get, if I can even find it, ooh, told you it was complicated, and we're going to get started, guys. So the first thing we're going to talk about is just the training mode screen, what's on it as default. So you have your inputs on to the left side of the screen here. This just physically shows you like what you're doing, left, right, hard kick, you know, standing hard punch, whatever it is. It'll show you your exact inputs. You want to make sure that, you know, if you're working on your Hadoukens, your quarter circles, your half circle back, you want to know that the game is reading the input properly, you know? And it'll even tell you at the bottom, it has this little success bar that you can toggle as well with special moves and I believe super arts as well, yes. And then just like in a match, you have your vitality gauge and your drive gauge, your super art meter at the bottom, and then you have this little attack data bar. So it's 3 bars. The first one calculates damage. The second one calculates the full combo damage of the, not just the single move, but literally the full combo. So all 4 hits there, 1840. And the last one tells you what kind of attack it is. Is it a low? Is it a high? Is it a overhead? You know, that will let you know all of that info as well. So, we're gonna start with the command list in the basic settings here. There we go. And this literally tells you everything your character can do on classic controls and modern controls. It tells you your special moves, it tells you your super arts, your list of unique attacks, your throws, and even, you know, just your common moves. Everyone has these, you know, your drive rush, parries, drive parries. Yeah, and I think that is a super useful tool right at the beginning if you're just trying to figure out, you know, what are my character's moves, what can they do, how do they function. The command list will tell you every single little thing. It's not as intimidating and long as like a Tekken command list. Street Fighter tends to have less normals and a couple of special moves for each character. Control settings. This is where you can set your personal default. You know, I spent a lot of time in the FGC, seen a lot of people hook up their controllers with different layouts. Everyone has their own unique style, so don't be afraid to explore and see what works for you. Personally, I play with the default in this game on Classic. On default, it's modded to have your macros be one set to one button drive impact and the other one set to one button parry. That works for me. Maybe it doesn't work for you. Maybe you want your one buttons on EXs. I know for the beta, that's something I was doing as well, but point being, you can set all of it here and decide exactly what you want your buttons and your layout to look like. Shortcut settings is actually pretty interesting. So by default, the only one that's installed is Restart Battle pretty much. So if you hit the options button, you will literally restart training mode every single time. I'll even give you a little prompt here at the bottom. If you want to go more in depth with your restart, with your shortcut settings, you want to set a function button. I would suggest setting it to options. And that way, now you can go through anything else that you want to shortcut to, and you can set it to the function button plus another button. And now let's say we also want function plus X. And we're gonna, oh, function plus B. Okay, I guess that works too. And we're gonna toggle that one on as well. Now we just have to set some block settings, unfortunately. So now we'll see if I hit the function button that I set and Y, now we'll get the restart battle. And if I hit this, I should get my block settings. Beautiful. And that'll, oh, this will actually shuffle through them. Interesting. I just thought it would reinstate them perhaps. Okay, that's very interesting. So that is your shortcut settings. And now I'm going to restore these bad boys to default. I don't use too many of them besides restart, but do your own thing. No wrong way to do this, you know? The next tab here, we have options. This will literally bring you to the game's options menu. So whether you want your game settings, your controller types, this actually the controller, if I can get back to it, type here actually even affects your avatar battle type. So make sure to change that from modern to classic if you're a more classic era player. That'll give you your camera layout, your display settings, audio settings, language, and even your graphics, which a lot of people I know like to adjust. And restore default settings, pretty straightforward. This will take you back to just like the factory, you know, version of training room. Really helpful if you had a whole bunch of complicated things set up and then you just wanted to sort of return to a neutral state. Capcom has a lot of little tutorials set up for you in the tutorial section. This is just helpful ways to get better at the game. They go all the way from beginner to more advanced stuff for all 3 control types. And yeah, they're like little mini games. You know, their effectiveness varies, but if it's something you're interested in, go ahead and check it out. Open matchmaking settings lets you select ranked or casual games while you're grinding in the lab, you know? If you want to practice your combos and then take a match, this was a really common thing in Street Fighter V. People would be always in training room and then taking a ranked game. So you can definitely still do that in this game as well, not to worry. Return to character select, takes you back to character select, and mode select will bring you up back to the main menu where you can choose between World Tour, Battle Hub, and I'm forgetting the name of the last one, Fighting Ground, I think it's called. And the last one I wanted to save, sort of the most complicated one for last. So the saved status, when you hit the saved status, it will save like a moment in time. Imagine you're taking a picture with a camera. It will save the exact moment that you're on. So let's say it's a medium kick. If I save this status, if I replay it, I'm gonna get the end of that medium kick every single time. So you might think, okay, that's weird, but why is it useful? Well, a lot of characters have really complicated combos in this game, and even just the opener of the combo, for example, takes an extra 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and you're doing it dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Let's say Jamie's level 3, for example. Well, now, we can even let it rock for longer.
It's time to train.
So now instead of having to watch Jamie's entire level 3, every single time we're trying to practice this follow-up, I can just hit a replay save status. Oh, and now I want to practice a different follow-up. Replay save status. Ooh, and I hit it. So that's how that works. And I think each character and every individual person can sort of find a way to use this, and it can definitely save you some time and some annoying headaches when you're labbing some peskier things. And that is the end of the basic settings. Moving on to the environment settings, we have restart battle, which will just take you based on the parameters you've set. So it's different from the default. Default will restart the battle with default settings. Restart battle under your parameters will restart the battle. Start position, literally where you are on screen. Or center, side setting, pretty self-explanatory as well. Left or right. Game speed setting, if you want to slow it down to practice certain things, you can do that as well. You can even literally pause if you try to go frame by frame. I haven't found too much use for this yet, but I'm gonna keep on playing around with it. Input delay settings, if you're trying to simulate a more online experience or a bad connection, you can literally set like a native 1 to 5 frames of delay. And here you can, instead of having to go back to character select, you can just change from the main menu. We'll change Luke to Ryu here. And I think if we go back, yep, it's gonna reload here. So right after the character select is character specific settings. So for Jamie, he has 2. He has his drink levels, and he has his level 2 super art. We even have reused engine charge down here. Basically, just all these little unique mechanics each character has. You don't want to have to be getting Jamie to drink level 4 every single time you're trying to practice level 4 stuff, or level 3 when you're trying to practice level 3 stuff. This is just a really simple way to take you to level 3 at all times. That was meant to be that. Yeah. And that's pretty much how that works. Change stage, change the stage. The music player is actually only available, I believe, after you do some world tour stuff. But you're in the lab for a long time. Usually you don't want to always be grinding to the same stuff. So if you go to world tour, you unlock some songs on the jukebox. You can play Street Fighter music from the entire franchise's history. And revert changes will just change any character-specific changes you've done instead of going in and manually changing each one specifically. And that is the end of our environment settings. And next we have our dummy settings. This literally will influence what, in this case, Ryu, the dummy, is doing and how he's behaving. This is probably one of the most important sections. So you can literally control if he's a dummy at all. You can make them a CPU, and now they'll fight against you. Come on, fight back. Stuff like that. They can be controlled by your buddy. Let's say you guys are getting together, you want to train together. It can be controlled by player 2 as well, or it can just be a regular old dummy. You can set the dummy's behavior. They can stand, they can crouch, and they can jump. It's doing the Nash anti-airs. Oh boy. Counter. So if you wanted to practice counter-specific punishes, instead of having your combos just hit in a standard way, you can make sure that they're countering. Let's say you want to simulate, if someone pushes a button here and you want to practice your frame trap, something like that. That's why the counter hits on. You can even always punish counter if you want to practice punish counter specific combos. Maybe it's your DP extensions. Maybe it's, it's punish counter only conversions, something like that. Whatever it is, you can find the function there. Block, pretty self-explanatory. You can set them to no block, so every attack will hit. Block all, the exact opposite. No attack will hit. Only thing that will grab is throws, and I think command grabs. Oh. And command grabs. You can set them to block after first hit. So if you're worried about, comboing, you want to make sure that this thing actually connected. Ryu will immediately block on wake up, so you will know exactly where you started and where you finished. The random one is, for example, if you are trying to hit confirm. Jamie has a confirmable button with standing roundhouse. Is this at the... Something like that. Block count, so you can literally count how many moves you want them to block. For example, 3, so they'll attack me on the 4th. They stop blocking on the 4th, sorry, rather. That's how that functions. You can set it all the way up to 30. And I believe that's all of them. Yes. And you can switch literally how they are blocking, so they can crouch block only or stand block only. Try to practice certain mix-ups, 50-50s, side switches. That's what that there's for. Block type. You can set them on block all to literally perfect parry everything, which looks pretty steez sometimes if he's like doing both hits of Jamie's stuff. I can't even imagine how oh my, look at this. Could you imagine someone hits you with that? And what if I cancel into level 2 after? Oh, you can't cancel into level 2 after. It turns out for you, perfect parries every single hit. You can't cancel into level 2. Maybe I just missed it. No, I don't think you can. Drive parry. That's just a regular parry. General rule, the frame data is literally the exact same on parry. You can just kind of push people further back. Perfect parry obviously changes. Oh, so if you turn drive reversal onto active every time they block, they're gonna drive reversal, right? If you want to practice your drive reversal punishes, or, you know, which one of your normals can get drive reversal. Oh wow, that can't even get drive reversal. That will go. Okay. That is a great thing to practice. You can, again, set a frame delay on it if you'd like, and a number of normals blocked before they decide to drive reversal as well, is how that functions, the number there. Throw escape, so you can set them to tech or not tech. They will never not tech here. You can still command grab them, of course, but any normal throw will be teched. And recovery, so advantage is the same on normal recovery and backwards recovery. The only thing that changes in this game is the distance, but frame advantage is the same regardless. You want to practice when you're doing intermediates, both wake ups, and as you can see, you know, Ryu's in a drastically different spot when he's recovering backwards than when he's recovering in place. So that's why that's important to, or even have them random so you can kind of react to both, see your options to both. So onto the record settings. I think this section is really cool. It can get a little complicated, but basically at the bare bones, you can record the bot to do whatever you want. It even records the frames. Let's say you just wanted to throw fireballs. So that's the recording. And then you want to go to replay settings. So as you can see, the second you record something, it'll put it in the replay settings. You can toggle it on or off. And then once you toggle it on, you hit start recording replay, and you'll start it. You'll start throwing fireballs. And if you want him to repeat it, once we start it, he's just not going to stop. We're trying to... There we go. Ooh, those are... Anyway, that's how that functions. Their replay info display will literally just get rid of the HUD essentially on the replay. You can turn it on or off. Doesn't matter too much. I would honestly leave it on. I think it's important to kind of just have that there. You know what's playing. But if you are trying to react to multiple different options and you're trying to say, or maybe you have multiple different slots on, like you set one to drive rush, and you are trying to react to both options, then you would want your HUD off because you don't want to kind of cheat it, you know? You want to know if you're reacting to the drive rush, honestly, or if you're just looking at the replays. Something like that. You know? That's what that can definitely be useful for. And I think that takes us to the end of the record settings. We're going to toggle both of these off. If we go to reversal settings, this is my favorite setting because this will always teach you how to meaty. It will show you how to meaty and the best way to punish reversals on wake up and in between strings. I love the reversal settings. So wake up reversals. You can set a wake up reversal to literally any option in the game, any normal, any unique attack, special move, any of their super arts, even common actions like forward, backwards, jumping, throwing, drive impact, drive parry, whatever it is, you can set them to do it. I'm going to set Ryu to his fastest normal in the game. Most people's is crouching light punch. We're going to turn it on. So now we know that when we knock Ryu down, he's going to wake up, crouching light punch. And that way, we know if we counter hit him, we hit him with a true meaty. So we know that counter hit, Jamie got a true meaty there. For any of the Jamie players out there, you can also do enhanced forward hard kick if you wanted to, for funsies. And I actually think that would do optimal damage actually. So that is the wake up reversal settings. Obviously, you can also set it to, let's do Ryu's enhanced Shoryuken. And you wanted to practice your punish counters, that's a great way to do it off of certain situations, or your corner punish counters. You know, Ryu will wake up DP every single time here. That is your wake up reversal settings. You also have block reversal settings, a really similar concept. This will help you with a lot of your frame traps. So again, let's say you want to practice some pressure, and this gosh darn Ryu sure is blocking a lot. You can go to dummy settings, set them to block all. That's important, and they will always mash. No matter which button you put, they will mash out of it. So if we do one of his plus frame normals, standing crouching light punch should counter hit, coming out a frame faster. Beating Ryu's 4 frame, ours is coming out at 3 frames. So that is a great way to use the block reversal setting. Or to check gaps in between strings, you know, you want to know, like, what can they do after this, for example? Oh my gosh. There we go. Or frame data and burnout. You know, what are my sick frame kills and burnout? This will help you with all of that for sure. And there's one more reversal setting. It is the reversal after damage. So when someone's mashing, you know, they usually Shoryuken. I don't want to say Shoryuken twice, but I'm just telling it like it is. Maybe you hit them with like a long range poke, and this guy keeps keeps Shoryuken, you know. This will help you figure it out, and train for that situation. Or maybe you are trying to reset them after one Rekka, and you want to see how much burnout you can do, for example. What? That's not what I wanted. And you want to see how much burnout you can do, for example. You know, not actually did a whole lot of it. That is what you can use the reversal after damage settings for. Very helpful as well. And let's toggle that off. But the two you'll use the most are the wake up reversal and the block reversal. Parameter settings. This affects literally the what you're actually seeing on screen in the HUD. So there's certain situations you're not always gonna have full super art, full drive bar, full vitality. So if you want to change that for either you or your opponent, maybe you want to make sure you have critical art. That's why the vitality gauge is there. Maybe you want to make sure your opponent's really low on health, so that, you know, he has just a sliver, he can't even DI back. Maybe you want to stop the refill because you're practicing, you know, setups. You want to see how many hits you can kill in, so you can stop the refill of the vitality gauge. So now when that's mine, I changed. So now when I beat up Ryu, all of a sudden, poor guy's not gaining any health back. Drive gauge works exactly the same as the vitality gauge. If you want to set them to certain situations, see what you have to do to burn them out, or what you can do before burning out, that is the way to do it. You can set them to standard or fixed, doesn't matter. SA gauge, exact same thing as well. What level it is, do you want it fixed, do you want it standard, do you want it to refill, so it's just almost like infinite? Whatever you want can be found in the parameter settings. Screen display settings, this one is probably my favorite because it gives you so many juicy details and numbers. So it gives you the attack data, which we spoke about here, which is 3 bars right at the top here that say damage, combo type, and attack type. Input history display is on the left-hand side of the screen. That was the inputs we were talking about right at the beginning. Frame meter, we have not seen this yet. This is not on by default, which I think is a crime. The frame meter is so advanced in this game, it is absolutely fantastic. And frame data is very important in this game. So this will tell you what all your moves are on block. You can see the advantage there at the top, how it says -3. You will know that you're -3, or that you're +1. And then if he's not blocking, if we're hitting him, well, now we know we're +5 here, and we can do a combo. The bar is broken down to 3 different colors. So the green at the start is the startup, funnily enough. The red bar is the active frames, and then that blue is your recovery. So as you can see, if I do a massive recovery move like Shoryuken, the blue bar is absolutely huge. 5 frame startup though, pretty fast. Or 6 frame, something like that. So that is how your frame meter essentially works, and it'll give you the total time of each move as well. So yeah, it's a 10 frame startup, but as you can see, it's a 29 frame move, because when you factor in all of the frames, including the recovery frames, that's just the total time, essentially. And this is very, very helpful to learn your frame traps, your mix-ups. Go through this with every character, figure out, okay, what's positive, what's negative, what's punishable, what's not. You know, can I get like a move, for example, like Swagger Step, which is normally -5. Well, now you can practice your meaties and see, now I got it -3. Now I got it -2. Trying to get for plus here. Now I got it -2. Now I got a +2. There you go. So as you can see, you can perfect your meaty setups, your distances, your spacing, and know exactly what the frame data is, all with the glorious, glorious frame meter. I would suggest leaving that on at all times. I think it's so darn helpful. I'm a big fan. A command completion display, we also mentioned earlier, so whenever you do a special move, it has that little success at the bottom. If you look at the bottom left of the screen, this will even work for super arts, whatever you want to do. This really doesn't have to be on, but it's pretty innocuous. Toggle it on or off if you want, but that is what it does. Action timing display, if you're struggling with the combos or the block stun of your normals, that little yellow bar on top of the black bar is the combo space. So if you hit a normal in between that span, that's when you know it's gonna combo. If you hit it while it's in the red at the beginning, too early. You're still in hit stun, your opponent's still in hit stun, nothing's gonna happen. Too late, it's not gonna combo either. But like Goldilocks, you get it in that parameter, just right. And that bar is really helpful for that purpose if you're struggling to really get your combos down. That bar can help you out a lot. Cancel timing display is really interesting. So for any cancelable normal, your character will he'll gain this hue while he's in his cancel window. So you would not believe when I was helping people improve in previous titles, the #1 thing that beginner players especially struggled with is the cancel window. It's difficult to sort of explain how you're not doing the input after the normal, you're doing the input during the normal. So this really helps you understand where the buffer window, where the cancel window is on each of your normals. He will literally change color. And that is really, really helpful for nailing that, especially for, you know, hit confirms on the standing hard kick like I was just doing before. That can help you as well there too. Virtual controller, I can't test this one unfortunately because it's for literally VR. If you are playing this game in VR, which I'm yet to see, tell me if you are, it will display your inputs on the virtual controller. And the last one here is simple training settings. Capcom has essentially set up a little series of mini games here. You know, let's do whiff punish practice, for example. And I'll take it to this little mode where Ryu whiffs a normal after jump, and we try to whiff punish him, you know? Oh. And there's one for a lot of these. There's just a standard CPU battle. There is a throw escape practice. Oh, did that a little early. Throw me, Ryu. How does this one work? Did man just sweep? Anyway, I'm sure there's some functionality to them. All these little mini games to help you with specific things. Anti-air practice. You know, man's is jumping at you a lot. You want to work on it, you can go right there. And here even lets you save your specific trading sessions or load them with the click of a button. Will take you back to the settings you had stored. And guys, if you can believe it, that is everything you need to know for Street Fighter 6 to absolutely steez on people and do insane 7,000 damage Marisa combos. The lab is so important, and I think it can be really fun too when you're sitting there perfecting your character, grinding, getting the optimal scenario just right. Can be really, really satisfying. So I hope you guys enjoy your time in the lab in this game as much as I do. I'm Nate Banks with Filthy Animals FGC, and I hope you guys take care.